You ever been walking through like the mall or some kind of public event, like a fair, with like your younger brothers? Because I have a lot of brothers. You ever been walking with one of them and you just see all these group of kids and you're like, I wish one would say something to them, you know? Because you wanted to be that, you wanted to just enforce your will on somebody, you know what I mean? So you're like, there, you want somebody to say something, you know what I mean? Just so you got the opportunity. Anything like that ever happened to you?
Yeah, a time or two.
Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Skunk, and this is
Jake.
And we are the Trailer Park Socrates. We're going to come at y'all with a lot of deep, philosophical topics, but we're also going to keep it fun and fresh, I guess.
Kind of fit our style and kind of where we were raised, the thought processes we've gone through with these philosophies and debates. Like some episodes like today's is on Freud's ego and the id and the super ego. So we'll be breaking that down. In future episodes we'll discuss philosophies of self and just anything we can kind of
dive into.
Yeah.
And just really break it down, you know? 'Cause
yeah.
I feel like that's where a lot of knowledge comes from, is just really kind of getting to the bottom of it, you know?
Right, and we want to modernize it for a lot of people because sometimes listening to these old stodgy phrases doesn't really hit the same way it does if you were to kind of modernize it, bring it in. Kind of like Taoism is to Dudism, right? It's just a modernization, a retelling of these philosophies and ways of living and stuff. And
it's like updating the language on it.
Right, yeah, and we're making it more for kind of the common man. It's like the common man simplified for dummies, maybe. I don't know.
Oh God, that's bars. Straight, no cap, bro.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I could do that whole episode.
Don't worry about it.
We'd have to call it like Gen Z philosophy.
You know, I'm getting L-Riz off you right now.
Yeah.
You need to calm down. Like,
I have no aura, bro.
Yeah, no aura, bro. Like,
that would be so fucking hard to do. So, I guess we'll get started on our topic today. We're going
titties.
You gotta have a lot of titties. We gotta.
No, we're not talking. Oh.
No, we can talk about titties.
No, I thought this.
The philosophical definition of what titties are to men and how we.
I mean, we worship milk.
We do, and
as a society.
Breast, is that because we're breastfed? Is it because?
About it, man. So we live in the Milky Way.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Galaxy. Do you know what galaxy translates to?
No.
Milk. So we live
in the Milky
Milk. Milky Milk.
I like the Milky Milk way more.
Oh my God, dude! I mean, we're a milk-centric society, but we're not gonna get into that. That's not what this is about.
That might be why it was so hard for everybody to wrap their heads around that osteoporosis is higher in countries with that are milk drinking countries.
Yeah.
Even though they, milk does the body good. And
dude, I don't really want to get into this because I'm an avid milk drinker. Okay, I love milk.
I love strawberry milk. You give me a strawberry milk. And strawberry milk comes from strawberries.
It's not milk, it's strawberry.
He said it's vegan friendly. The video fucked me up. This dude's like, I can have strawberry milk. He said milk, which irked me more than any of the stupid shit he had to say afterward. But he said it came from strawberries and not cows, so he could drink it since he was vegan.
I mean, last time I checked, that's a true statement.
It is. Right. Chocolate milk comes from brown cows.
Right. Cool. Well, I don't know if can we say that?
That's what I used to say as a kid. I thought the brown cows were the ones that had chocolate milk, and the white cows had white milk. Oh, the white and black cows. You know, the stereotype of a cow that...
Whoa, now we're talking about stereotypes. This is not a good way to a first episode. But seriously, from the very beginning, we're talking about You ever been in that situation though? Like,
Yeah, like I've been a bunch of situations like that. Like most of my childhood was kind of based in that I'll fuck somebody up just for looking at me silly or looking at my brother crazy or whatever. I don't know how many times I've fought for I've got a scar beside my eye that came from a fight I got into because of my brother. So, like, I would...
think it's more of, like, the nuclear option. Like, you ever think, like, man, if I can just, like, let everybody know that I'll fuck you up over my brother.
Right.
Like, eventually people will quit.
Leave him fuck alone, right?
Because it's like, dude, I don't want him to fucking push the red button. You know?
Right.
Shit.
Right.
You know?
But at what point is it... For me, I had to look at it and be like, he has to learn to fight for himself. I'm not always going to be here, right? I'm not always going to be there to help him fight.
Right.
So
which is why I ran an illegal fight club.
Right.
Every time my mom would go to bingo and I'm watching my little brothers, dude, they got plenty of fight lessons.
Hell yeah.
I made sure they were trained, you know. they all fought each other.
Oh, we would do
Dude,
we would just brutalize my brother sometimes. Like, we would run in the bathroom and beat the shit out of him. Just, he'd be taking a shit and just, we'd storm in like Viva La Bam and, or Jackass or whatever the fuck that was on. The CKY videos.
All those shows, the Bloodhound Gang, all that, that ruined a generation.
It really did. It made us fucking primal, I think.
It really did. I swear.
Especially those of us that didn't have proper mentors to lean us in. Like, hey, do we lean this way? Are we supposed to be more stoic? Are we, we didn't have those type of influences. So for us, it was kind of a kill or be killed, right? You grow up in a rough situation. You grow up with rough people around you.
Then you buy a pair of Jinko jeans.
Right. And then you're wearing a fucking corn shirt, a wallet chain.
Nobody,
I've been there.
I get it. I do. And, I really think that I look back and I'm like, man, my brothers and I, we were feral. Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, we were straight up feral out there. I can remember my little brothers learned how to pee on a tree before they actually learned how to use a potty. You know what I mean? And like I'm talking about, they're pissing outside on trees and shit. Like just opening the door, peeing out of it.
Right.
For like a year before they peed in a potty. You know what I mean? It's like it's to a point. But anyways, that's another whole other thing. So that being said, I just think like we were different like back then. I don't really know about now.
From what I've kind of concluded from what I talked to Dylan about is like kids aren't anywhere near what they were when we were growing up. Like they're not, like there are bullies and shit, but they're not like they were when we were kids.
Well, you can't understand them.
Right.
If they're just talking about a bunch of Sigma, what the Sigma? Stupid toilet.
You're not right.
You got me, girl. Bird, sweet baby.
What's that kind of idea too? Like the way we grew up. Like I grew up in project housing and trailer parks and shit like that. So it was for me looking at it from. Like you had to fight, you had to be tough.
Absolutely.
Right? So when I got older, I was probably in my mid-20s. The first time I saw a guy in skinny jeans that was supposed to be fashionable, sagging, hat backwards, slinging dope on the corner, I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, when the fuck did this become the thing? You know what I mean? He's wearing his sister's fucking pants, right?
Yeah.
Right, that kind of idea. But I think it was just kind of around the start of that.
Right.
Them
thugs what brought that, I'm pretty sure.
Probably did. But for me, I didn't know new modern hip-hop. Everything I knew was fucking 90s and 2000s, right? Baggy pants, big oversized t-shirts, flat bill hats.
I love Young Thug,
Right. There's a lot of modern rap that's really good, but...
I'm pretty sure that's how the words go. But anyways,
that's exactly what it's almost like verbatim the kind of shit Eddie Vedder says. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why. Right. That's why
you kind of gravitate toward it, right? You want to lean into that genre.
And then I just feel like now I'm part of it. I'm hip now because I listen to Young Thug.
Right. Is he still relevant?
No, he's in prison for the rest of his life, but. I guess he'll always be relevant as long as he's in prison. But anyways, go ahead.
So, us growing up the way we did, we leaned into these, stereotypes of what men were. Like, There was a time my brother got into a fight with this kid. I go out there, I separate it, right? Hey, leave him the fuck alone. It's kind of slow, right? And we didn't know he had autism. We just knew that, like, he's high functioning, right? On that, it was Asperger's before they quit calling it Asperger's, right?
Oh, so, they don't call it Asperger's?
No, because Asperger was a Nazi. And so, yeah.
So, really, that's why they quit calling it that? Not because it's called Asperger, but because
right. I mean, even South Park made fun of Asperger's because Cartman tried to shove burgers in his ass. And he was like, oh, I got Asperger's? My brother watched that and laughed his fucking ass off. I was like, that's fucking great. This is fucking hilarious. But he always had this social awkwardness. And so he would get into these fucking confrontations with people and they'd start beating the fuck out of him.
He's like, oh, shit.
And he can't defend himself because he couldn't fight at the time, right? So I was like, fuck, And sometimes I'm actually fighting people, but this one time I break up the fight, and it's this little kid. They're probably about the same age. He's like, I'm gonna go get my brother and say, you fucking put your hands on me. I was like, fuck you, dude. Go get your brother. I'm not scared of nobody in this motherfucker, right? I run these goddamn streets, which I didn't run shit, but, you talk shit, you can talk shit, right?
Yeah.
So
I get it. You give them 99%. You're only 1%, but you give them fucking 99.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Give him a reason to think, maybe you shouldn't fucking get my brother, right?
Go up there and be like, oh, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He don't know you don't know how to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Is he going to try you?
Right.
But yeah.
My berserker rage would take over, you know what I mean? So fucking he goes and gets his brother. His brother comes down and he's like, you push my brother? I was like, I didn't fucking touch your brother. I just separated him from beating my brother's ass. That's all I did. And he's like, fuck you, bitch. And I was like, all right. So at that point you have to fight, right? I mean that's the rules of the streets, right? You call somebody a bitch, you got to get fucking handled. This
is the way.
Right. So we get into it. I fight him. Fucking later on, he tries me on the school bus. We get into a fight on the school bus. Luckily, we're on the school bus with like-minded kids, so they're like making sure nobody sees anything. The bus driver's just like, driving down the fucking road. And so me and this kid get into it a time or two, and I fucking finally get like where I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna put a fucking stop to it. And I go almost overboard, right? Beating the shit out of this kid. Bus? No, this is later. Like, there was a couple of times we got into it, right? After the original time. And it got to the point where his brother went and got him again to try to fight me. And by the time he got back down to fight me, he was like, no, I ain't fucking with that dude. Fuck that. No, I'm good.
He won.
I did that twice, I remember.
Okay.
I did that. And there was one time this kid was my mom's boyfriend. His mom had just passed away from cancer. And we had gotten a bunch of her stuff, her Bible, some sheets, stuff like that, right? So my mom washes them, but we didn't have a dryer, so she hangs them up on the clothesline out back. This little dirty fucking kid, they called him Bubba, but he was a dirty, mangy...
Bobo or?
Bubba.
Gotcha.
Right. And so Bubba pisses in the dirt right outside my house, right? Balls it up into mud balls and throws them at the sheets. Yeah. So my mom's boyfriend sees him do this, and he knows I can't physically beat the dog shit out of this kid. So he yells for me. He said, go whoop that boy's ass, because he was still sitting there doing it. He said, go whoop that boy's ass. And if I don't find it to my liking, you're getting your ass whooped. Right? So out the door I went. My ass is on the line now.
Yeah, I gotta fucking...
Right.
Like, you gotta get...
So he hauls ass as soon as I hit the fucking door. Boom. So I'm on his heels, chase him around the end of the apartment. You know how the Rolling Heights is set up.
Right.
I hit him around that corner, fucking boom, trip him down in that little patch of grass that was on the end of the apartment. Tackle him, fucking start waylaying. Somebody's like, hey, here's a coffee can. Throws me an old metal Folgers coffee can. I'm banging him in the head with it. Bow, bow, bow. Hard as I fucking can, right? I'm trying to do damage. Somebody's like, hey, here's a belt. So I wrap the belt around his throat and stand on his back, and I got him pulled up with the belt, smacking him in the face with his fucking coffee can. Just going in as hard as I can, right? Somebody tells his mama, he's a big lady, she comes waddling around the corner, right? Grabs him out from underneath me. I'm telling your mom, yelling at me, telling me I'm a fucking piece of shit and everything else, right? And I'm like, he got what he deserved. Go tell her.
Right.
So she goes and knocks on my front door. My mom's like, come with me. Walks her through the house, out the back door. She said, these mud balls are made with piss. He peed in the dirt. He threw them at these sheets, who belonged to Bob's mother, who just passed away. And she was like, I'll handle him. And she dragged him back to the house. I left him fucked up. He was bleeding and everything else. I was going for fucking broke. Like, there was no reason for me to stop. Because I don't want my ass whooped. I've had my ass whooped a bunch. I don't want it again. Right.
You know how that happens. You know what happens. Right.
Yeah. So. We know. I know the end game, right? So, and it usually wasn't just a, smack on the ass, hey, don't do it again, right? It was full on, like, borderline CPS needs to be involved, right?
Right.
So, I'm like, I have to do some damage, right? And so I didn't feel bad about that at all. I didn't have any remorse in that predicament, right? Because I felt like I had to do this to survive, right? Like I had to protect my brother, right? In those situations, I didn't have that positive male role model to lead me in the right direction. Be like, hey, let's try to work these out and talk about them.
Right, this isn't something you need to be doing. Yeah, right. You need to work through these emotions.
Right. So for me, it was always that kind of...
Because you're a millennial.
Right.
Growing up with boomer parents.
Gen X.
That's what I meant.
Right. So, my mom's Gen X. So,
well, your mom's Gen X, but your dad...
Both the same age.
Is he Gen X? I thought he was.
Yeah. My dad is the exact same age as my mom. He's only 4 months. I don't know. Because he's a dick. So he
associate dicks with age.
Right. So for me being a millennial but born kind of in the middle, right? We're middle millennials, right? We're the middle child.
Right.
Me literally and figuratively here.
More like Gen X plus millennials.
Well, so if you grow up poor, you tend to be more like the older millennials, younger Gen X. Right? Because those are your influences. Those are the people you hung out with. You didn't have all the same stuff that like your middle class and upper class had.
Right. Like I remember my first tape I ever had was fucking The Great Malenko.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. For me, I've had cassette tapes long after everybody had CD Walkmans.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
this was dude.
Right,
CDs were out. People were.
When I finally got a CD player, I thought I was the shit. Right, I thought I was doing something cool. Right, I was like, oh shit, look at this Walkman. And it would skip every time I took a step, and just everybody else had the fucking anti-skip on it, right? Which didn't do anything either, but they sold you the illusion, right? So it was for us, like I didn't get internet in my house until everybody had already had internet in their house. Like I didn't have the same as most millennials my age, or at least upper and middle class had.
AOL, whatever, and having used dial-up.
Oh, we had dial-up. Everybody else was on.
Yeah. You're over there like, and you had to wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was 16 years old, had a landline just so I could have internet, but I could also make calls. But if somebody called or whatever, it would kick me off.
Right.
Everybody else was using DHL and shit.
Yeah.
right? Or DSL.
DHL.
That's hockey.
And a delivery company.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. Yeah. The delivery company. But, yeah. So I had dial-up still, and everybody else is using DSL. Right. And I'm like, that's fucking lame. So I go over to my friend's house to be able to download images or songs, and they'd burn me CDs. And if I tried to burn a fucking song, it would take fucking 2 weeks to get the music downloaded, and then fucking another all day to burn the CD. You know? So we didn't have the same experiences across the board. So, the big experiences we all had, which is what makes us millennials, right? 9/11, stock market crash, entering the world during that time period, right? So that's our generation. But we tend to, as poor, impoverished kids, we are more like the elder millennials. So, but yeah, I think that shapes a lot.
It does.
You know what I mean?
It does, but at the same time, it doesn't. That's what's so crazy about human development, okay?
Right.
It's like, yes, it's a factor.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still so many other factors that can still lead to the same shitball screw-up that you have in front of you today, me. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it didn't matter. I don't think it necessarily matters. It's like a combination. So, like...
Right.
It's kind of hard to really wrap it around because there's so many variables. There's so many factors. There's so many different, like, things and unique situations that can lead to, I guess, unique identities.
Right. It's that nature-nurture thing, right? So, a big difference between you and I is, for your background, we grew up both kind of poor, kind of, defending our brothers. We're the older brother in the house, right? My oldest brother was raised by my grandparents because my mom was 15, 16 when she had him, right? She was 15 when she got pregnant, 16 when she had him. So, and he enjoyed being with my grandparents more than he did my mom. She was still a kid.
Right.
So, she had me at 19, and she raised me and my younger brother. And so I grew up the older brother in that situation, but treated like the middle child when all three of us were together. Like, it was a weird dynamic.
Right.
But...
Oh, I get it. Trust me.
Right. I'm sure you do.
Right.
Right. We both grew up kind of in the same... One, we're the same age. Two, we have a lot in common. We grew up in the same area. Kind of like same town, same county. But... where we differentiate is kind of the paths we took. Right. Especially as we got older. I could have easily went down the same path you did and ended up in jail and incarcerated for a few years and doing bids here and there and whatever.
Right.
But for me, I chose a different path that I thought was better in the moment, and it ended up paying off in that aspect where I didn't end up in the same.
Right.
But I was just literally a cunt hair away from being the same path. Right. Because everything was rough, everything was bad. But I went to Job Corps instead of staying in that position, right? I felt like I need to get out of this, right? And I got lucky and was able to.
And see, I think our familial structures are a little different too, because see, I'm adopted,
Right.
And you come, you could say you were adopted because you only had your mom,
I had my mom and my great grandmother,
right?
And that was it.
See, I had a couple father figures. But at the time, rebellious youth, you don't look at it like that. And then when they're gone, you're like, damn, man, I had some pretty awesome,
Right. You're able to look at that, right?
And
I didn't have that manly figure positive manly figures that showed masculinity in the right way, where you just tried to rebel against it.
Right.
Okay.
And that's where it came into, like, the variables and stuff like that. Because, like, I had a nurturing environment, kind of.
Right.
It was toxic in its own ways, in different ways.
Right.
But even though I had that background and the opportunity and stuff like that, I still, like, shunned that away and chose, homelessness and drugs and...
Right. For you, it was a different path, right? So for me, there was a lot of ridicule and judgment on a lot of things I did. Like, if I was to act like myself, I would be, like, ostracized by parents, stuff like that, right? My great grandmother never did, but, like, outside of her, I remember I was on ADHD medicine, and it sped me up instead of slowing me down. And I got to talking real fast, because that's one thing about my ADHD. When I really get into a topic, I'll over talk about it and I'll overshare about it.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm really, really in that moment on it, right? And I'm so passionate about it. And so for me, it was that moment where I would get ridiculed and laughed at by people that are supposed to have my back, right?
Right.
I'm supposed to be, like, kind of pushing that idea. Hey, keep thinking that way. Keep pushing those ideas. Keep being invested in something. Care about something, right? More than yourself, right? I didn't have that, so I would look at it for, like, oh, so I have to wear a mask at the house. Right, and I'd wear a mask in public. I'd wear a mask at the house, and I would just mask who I was. Right. Then I end up with bipolar and depression, and
that's the icing on the cake. Yeah.
Right.
Sharing sprinkles.
Right. So now I'm an unruly child growing up with more fucking animosity and angst. Right. And so until semi-recently, I just kind of learned to cope with, like, I learned to, like, tamping down the anger and resentment, right? But there were still underlying issues that I've just now started to kind of work through and get kind of focusing on a little bit more and looking at the path that led me to that, right? Those moments. And we'll divulge into those more when we hit those topics later on in other episodes. But kind of a brief synopsis, I guess, of kind of my idea of how we got to where we were, you know, that home life that builds you into this. All my mom's boyfriends, if I ask for advice or how do I do this, can you teach me that, whatever, we'll figure it out. You know, it was a figure it out kind of thing. They wouldn't take the time and energy to. My mom dated one guy, Bob, for 7 years, right? And they had a very toxic relationship, but he was a dick a lot of the time. But there were moments where it was like the things that I would latch on to, right? Because I didn't have that male influence. So when I saw those things from him, the sense of humor, the getting drunk and being the life of the party, just having a good time in the kitchen and singing and dancing and all this other stuff, like, I wanted to do that because that was the cool part of him, right?
Plus, that was probably like the nicest side of a male figure that you've ever seen.
Right, exactly.
And like, even though he's a fucking piece of shit, he was like a rose-scented, fluffy piece of shit that you could almost pretend.
And compared to some of the other guys, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, well, this is my better option, right? And I think that's why my mom stayed with him for 7 or 8 years.
That's like, do you want beige window blinds, or do you want, you know, puke green window blinds?
Right. Typically, I'll go with the more mundane beige, right? You don't want puke in your room. Anyway,
I don't know.
Maybe
go with the puke. You know?
Thought so. So for me, it was like seeing that was like, okay. And then my mom left him, and she got with her first, my oldest brother's dad, and he was a dick all the way around, racist. Like, nothing about who he was I wanted to emulate. Right. But once again, I had to wear a mask because I'm a dirty ghetto kid from the projects, right? He's moved me into this trailer park in Missouri where everybody says the N-word pretty hard. You know what I mean?
It's a culture shock.
Huge culture shock. So, like that, I was like, I don't like any of this. So that's where I really began to kind of shut down, cocoon, do my own thing until I found the people that I find later on in Alabama when I moved to Alabama, right? So we moved to Alabama, and I find people that are like-minded, right? They're outcasts. They're the broken toys that nobody wants, right? The Island of Misfit toys, we would call ourselves from time to time, right? Because it just fit. We just felt like outcasts. We knew we weren't the cool kids. We knew we didn't do what exuded cool, but that was what we didn't want to. We were our own brand of cool, right? And so we were the kind of kids that watch fucking, like concert DVDs, like 311 or Slipknot or whatever. We'd watch those on repeat. You know what I mean? So we'd watch those old musicals and fucking dark anime and shit like that. Like, we just kind of built that kind of weird persona where nobody, like, I don't get you. But so, but that was that was the only time we felt like we were able to take those masks off, right? You felt comfortable in those situations because those were your people. But you go home to where you're supposed to be able to relax and take that mask off and be yourself. And it wasn't that at all. It was, you know, now I have to lock down even tighter. At school, I have to be something. At home, I have to be something. The only time I get to be free is with these misfits, right? So we party, we drink, we do drugs. Everything to take our mind off of the home life or the bullshit at school or whatever, right? And so it was easy to do that, and that was what the cool thing was, right? All our idols on TV smoked pot and drank and everything else,
so why can't we?
We know we're not going overboard, which we might have borderline went overboard a time or two, but we never really pushed that into, like,
what teenage kid did,
right?
You know?
There,
some really boring ones.
We had, growing up in Monroe County, it's such a small place, there's nothing to do. There's everything to do, but nothing to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that weird, like, You can go to the creek, you can go to your friend's house, you can sit around, watch TV, play video games. One of my friends played Magic the Gathering. He tried to get me into it. I really wasn't into it at the time. Right. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. He was like, you got to read. And I was like,
there you go.
I'm too drunk and high to read, bro. Like, that's right. So these are big words on a card. What the fuck, you know? And I like to play the stupid guy. Like, I really like to play the stupid guy. Right. Because then when I get to say something out of that box, I get that shock from people. Holy shit, did he just say something intelligent? Right. It's kind of like when Silent Bob speaks. Right. That idea builds up anticipation. Right. And like you're expecting that one little snippet of fucking
adrenaline rush for you. Right.
And it was the same thing with my sense of humor. Right. When I got up in front of people and I made these jokes at these parties and told these jokes, everybody would sit there and be like, this guy's fucking amazing. Like, we want to party with this guy every time, right?
Bring him back.
Right. So that's the man I thought I had to be. I was able to defend myself with humor. I was able to do everything I needed to do. Like, it was my self-defense. That and actual fighting, but if I was trying not to fight, which as I got older, I tried to kind of let that be. You know what I mean? I didn't want to fight as much as I got older.
I think that comes with self-preservation. Maybe you realize the mortality of man.
Right.
So the older you get, the more you realize how fleeting time really is and how infinitesimal we really are in the grand scheme of things. So,
right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mortality becomes more relevant.
Right. You don't want to die.
In a sense,
to die. Nobody really wants to die.
Right.
I guess people that are like dying, they probably want to die.
Right. We would do some out-of-pocket shit, honestly. Like, there was a time my friend, he had a Camaro. He'd get the fucking Camaro going down 100, 120 miles an hour down a dirt road.
100%.
And that's easy death right there. You know what I mean? One fuck up, one thing gets in the road, one curb that you can't handle properly, right? Or slow down in time.
Slides out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So, fucked completely. We didn't have a fear of that.
Right.
But
you have no frame of reference for
it. Right. But we were at a party one time and this guy started shooting a fucking shotgun to scare us off his property because it was a big farmland.
Right.
And we went out to one of his ponds we weren't supposed to be at and partied. So he comes out there and chases us off the property with a shotgun, shooting it in the air, but we didn't know he was shooting it in the air at the time.
Just thinking, okay,
this motherfucker's trying to kill me.
Right, we gotta go.
This is a life or death situation I need to get the fuck out of. And there is a little panic that sets in at that point. Not the same, kind of the same danger level, right? As, you know, but one, I was fearful, and the other one, I'm just chilling, listening to music, like, all right. You know, It doesn't feel like imminent danger.
But
I guess.
At that time, have you been in a wreck? Have you known anybody that died in a wreck?
Yes,
you did.
We all knew somebody that died in Monroe County. Every year, literally, everybody. There's at least one person we went to school with that died from a car wreck most of the time, and usually it was drinking and driving.
So did that not boost?
Except for one year, a guy drank himself to death. He got alcohol poisoning, passed out. They thought he was passed out. They just left him there, and he was dead the whole time because he fucking drank way too much vodka. Yeah, so
fucking vodka.
Yeah, I won't drink vodka anymore. That's the one thing I got shit faced off of.
Well,
I can't
I
drink
don't
anymore.
even barely drink anymore. Like, I'll drink socially sometimes.
Right,
I guess,
me too.
But
it's not as like it was in high school because I had a dependency on it in high school.
That's not good.
No,
dude.
I didn't realize I had a dependency on it, so I went to Job Corps and quit drinking.
This sucks.
Yeah. You start getting the shakes, you're like, oh shit.
What is going on?
This is
thirsty.
Yeah. Anybody got any alcohol? No. You said this place is dry? Fuck. You know. But that was kind of the reality for me for a while. That was my case of, like, I didn't feel shame for most of the things I did, but I did have that over my mom when we moved to Alabama. Like, when we lived here in Kentucky, I was going to church all the time, right? I wanted to go to church. My girlfriend went to the church. I wanted to see her. I liked the people at the church. They were nice. They paid for me to go to church camp. Like, it was just a nice kind of community. And I needed that at the time. That kind of kept me somewhat straight, you know what I mean? From being a total delinquent, you know?
Right.
And then when I moved to Alabama, that's when I started leaning more toward atheism. But I would go to church. I would sit through the, stuff, but I felt more disconnected. Like, it didn't feel as much like a community. I felt like an outcast in that church because I wasn't one of them. I didn't grow up in there, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm this 15, 16-year-old kid coming in.
Which is a problem with, well, we're not getting into that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Right, so that was my kind of disconnecting from church at that point. And my aunt was real staunch Christian, and if you weren't 100% what she thought a Christian should be, then she would ridicule you, right? I had long hair. She was like, you have long hair like a girl, so she had her daughter come tell me that. And then I was like, well, Jesus had long hair. Go tell your mommy that. So she went and told her mom that, and that pissed her off. Then I got in trouble because she went and told my grandma. My grandma went and bitched at my mom. So it led to a long line of bullshit.
But I mean, Jesus did have long hair. But anyways.
Right. I mean, that's... Yeah.
So, I guess what I'm hearing, though, is I'm hearing you talk about the build-up to this pride, if you will, or this...
super ego.
Super ego, yeah.
Right.
This fucking just all-powerful, all-knowing moral compass that you've developed inside of you. You know what I mean?
And it was all religious-based to some extent. My grandma, everything she taught me was... My great-grandma that raised me taught me that, you do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Right.
You don't judge. More like the true Christian meaning, right? Not the weird shit you hear most of the time nowadays. But
so that's what I'm saying. So like you got this. So you have this core memory, this core belief,
right?
This ideology. You're gung ho about it, like this loyalty, brotherhood. Family, like you've developed this, so you're gonna like die for it, you know? Like, I mean I
fought tooth and nail for it, right? I bled for it,
and I honestly think that's kind of like where we can get into like ego and superego and id,
right? It really kind of leans into that overall,
right? And I think before we get into that though, you kind of gotta like break it down so everybody listening knows what those terms
what everything
mean,
is, right? So to start that off, let's define the difference in is the ego we're speaking of today the same ego that we try to kill, right? And the short answer is no, but they overlap, right? When people talk about killing the ego, it's spiritual or philosophical, in philosophical circles, like in Buddhism, psychedelics, and self-help. They're usually not talking about Freud's vision, right? There's a little bit different. So Freud's ego is the psychological ego. The definition is the part of your psyche that balances your primal desires, id, and your moral compass, your superego, right? So its job is really to manage reality. It helps you survive. It makes you act acceptable in society, right? It's that thing that tells you, hey, maybe calm the fuck down, right? Okay. Hey, don't beat the fuck out of this kid. Hey, don't steal that candy bar. Remember, we got that thing, right? We tried to, live a certain way, right?
Okay.
It's not bad. It's kind of neutral. It's the mediator, not the villain, right? You got to think, what's the smart way to get me what I want without going to jail, right? The thinking part of you, right? Then you have your spiritual ego, right? The one you kill, right? The definition of it is more of it's your identity.
Right. When you see all those crystal chicks or those hippie people, they're always like, I transcended my ego.
Right. Let me tell you about my ego death.
Let me tell you about this, man.
Right. I was on so much mushrooms.
Dude, I was talking to God. Man. Anyway.
Which we've been there, but we also don't discuss it in math, right? So, so it's your sense of self, the story you tell yourself about who you are, right? It's attached to pride and fear, insecurity, status.
It's
I'm
that
right.
Teenage you defending that little brother.
Right.
I mean, really.
Right. It's you doing, what you think is correct, right? Who am I without my name, job, trauma, reputation, or need to be right?
Okay,
right?
Stop. Who are you without all those things?
That's the next episode. That is...
okay, we'll save it.
We got to save that one.
We'll save it.
Because that is 100% what the next episode is. But this one we wanted to get into kind of the meanings of these things before we jumped into what self is and who we are and how we identify, right? Breaking the titles away, breaking the ego off, and who are we, right? And that's the spiritual ego I'm speaking of there, right? So Freud's ego was a spiritual ego that...
So you're saying we're going to drop a bunch of L and record a podcast? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that, right?
Okay, all right.
But it mediates between the id and superego, right? It's that Freud's ego is that middle man that
right. It's a positive thing, really.
Right. It helps you operate in society. Right. It helps these.
It actually creates the logical mind,
right?
Because you analyze and break things down, whereas id is the complete opposite of all of that.
Right. It's that primal.
It's the lizard brain.
Right. So they overlap in a way. They're both kind of, trying to run the show if they become overdeveloped. Right. The Freud style ego out of balance might make you rationalize bad shit instead of owning it. A spiritual ego might make you cling to your self-image, right. Even when it's hurting you or others, right? It's that kind of either one of those or both of those egos in control is bad, right? Do you want a full ego death? No,
because then you're just going to be wearing like linen hemp clothes, walking around,
To be fair, I would like to wear linen hemp clothes.
Yeah,
they seem comfortable.
They would be comfortable
and cool. Especially in this.
Are you gonna walk around talking about how you're wearing linen hemp clothes? Because if you are, then
this is 100% hemp, and I don't appreciate your cynical tone.
Like, yeah, dude, like, are you wearing cotton next to my hip? Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's.
I don't believe in cotton.
Like, you don't believe like it's real? Like, it's real.
You can touch it. It's real. It's physically there. But so now that we have the idea of what the ego is, the ego we're speaking of today, not the spiritual, but the psychological, right? We want to get into what these things mean, right? Your id is your raw impulse, your fight, fuck, or flee, right? It's the primal part of your mind. It wants pleasure, revenge, food, sex, sleep, violence. It has no filter, and there is no conscience, right? It's what will allow you to hurt somebody severely.
All right, so I'm going to throw a curveball at you real quick. Where do any of these reside in the mind?
Right, the consciousness. Where's the consciousness, right? This is one of those things I've thought about a lot lately. And since there is no central solid answer, right?
You think it's the cloud? Or we just upload it to the cloud? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because that's one thing we've not been able to find is where consciousness lies. Are you able to
You know why? Because we're not the ultimate observer. Anyways, that's a whole nother... Okay, we'll get into that.
It's a later episode, right? So... But that's the kind of stuff we want to discuss on here.
Right.
Some like far out ideas, some that are more, closely knit into society, right?
Right.
So the things that we deal with on a regular basis are these psychedelic out there ideas.
I'm going to be your fringe guy. You're going to be more of our
down to earth.
Right. And I'm the fringe, like, check this out. Bring it in a jar, bro. Bring it in a jar.
The thing about it is that also will help us further be able to, discuss any and everything.
Because we're not even sucking each other's dicks on the time on this thing.
Right, because I can contradict you, or I can even agree with you, but we can still build on things, right? We can play devil's advocate, or we can be on the same side. It doesn't matter. We can build the idea, right? And that's, I think, the best part I'm excited about for this whole project.
It's to really just kind of...
Right. Yeah. And even if we don't know something, we're learning something through the process.
Right, which, and, you know, I'm always...
It might open our mind to a new way of thinking and a new way of learning to heal or move forward.
Because, I mean, why not?
Right.
Why not learn and grow, you know, just because we're impoverished, you know? Like, and on welfare and shit doesn't mean we can't fucking be smart.
Right.
Some might say we're smarter than others.
Right.
But
it's one of those things that, like, like, I always felt like I was the smartest kid in the room, right?
Right.
I never applied myself.
Yeah, look where it got us.
Right.
Well, now we're just fucking smart.
If I would have, the smartest dumb guy in the room, right?
We're just fucking...
So for me, and then as I got older, I was like, definitely not the smartest fucking guy.
No.
Right?
No, that's the ego. That was
right, 100% the ego, because I felt like I was surrounded by idiots that were constantly doing the same thing on repeat, and it's that definition of what insanity is, right? You're doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome.
Dude, yeah, 100%. Because like I literally I'm going through this with my kid right now. So check this out. He literally thinks everybody else is a fucking moron, and he is the most intelligent person to ever grace the planet. Like, this is the ideology he has going through his mind. And he will get in arguments with me. He'll be like, I got an argument with the teacher. They were trying to teach me something wrong, and I'm like, dude, how do you know it was wrong? And he's like, because it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, that is not an answer.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. Like, these people are trained, and they go to college for all these years so they can teach you this subject.
Right.
Like, you know, do people make mistakes? Yes. They're not infallible. Like, nobody's perfect. Like, even the most intelligent person might tell you some false information every once in a while. You know what I mean? You know, but... And he'll come home and he'll be like, so all the kids in my school are just dumb. They're just idiots. And I'm like, son, like, how do you can't just overgeneralize everybody.
Right. What you're so smart. What scientific proof do we have for this?
Right. That's what I try to explain to him. I'm like, I try to play the devil's advocate a lot with them, you know, and
sometimes you can't talk somebody out of that thought.
And you can't, and that's the thing. Like, that's what.
Because one, you're just repeating yourself.
Well, not only that, but I'm looking at a fucking mirror. Like, I'm like, fuck, man. Here I am, all fucked up again, you know? Like, I gotta go through all this shit to figure it the fuck out.
The big plus to it is you did go through it. So you do know what the outcome is. So you can give him, you might not take my advice, but here is the advice, right?
Due diligence.
Right.
Because that's all I can do.
Right.
Because ultimately,
you can show him the path, you can't make him walk it.
Right, no.
Right. And that's the hardest thing, to separate your ego from that.
Right. But here's the thing, man. You got to understand, with trauma comes the need for this militant ego. You know what I mean? It comes for this need for it's the part of us that it's on fucking steroids, because you're in survival mode all the time, constantly. So it's like, it's this roided out fucking
100%.
You know, and you don't have any self-worth or self-value.
Right.
So that's really what it all boils down to, is the balance behind everything. You know?
Right. 100%. Because your ego being the manager, the realist, the negotiator, you have your super ego, which is your moral code, right? That's the one that's often inherited from parents or religion, right? That portion, right? So with those being kind of laid out there, we know what we're speaking about at this point. We know the id, the ego, and the super ego, right? That's going to be the super ego is going to be what kind of makes you feel shame and makes you feel remorse, right? And sometimes a little too much, right? Catholics, you know, heavy shame, right? It's a thing. You can look at me crazy all you want, but I'm not saying the priest. I'm saying, like, you grow up with Catholic guilt, right?
Really? I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know this guilt.
But
is it like white guilt? Is that like a
kind of in a way, right? When you feel over guilty or you feel extremely shamed by your actions, right? I did this thing,
but it's not like our fault that like Jesus got crucified. Is that what? So like,
well, it's just how the Catholic religion was teaching Catholicism at the time. You shouldn't feel joy for the things you do, kind of thing. So if you do,
how can you be happy knowing you got nailed to a cross? I'm like, what? That was 3,000
I didn't do it personally, right?
Like, yeah. Dude, I'm sorry this happened. Like, I feel terrible about it, I guess.
But so with our ego, we're dealing with our middleman. He's going to try to keep us centralized, right? That's vital in this whole thing, right? Where our ego lies, what the id tried to make us do.
Is that what's vital, or is it the super ego is what's vital? Because I feel like your whole identity can't even begin to like manifest until like you have a moral compass. Because if you don't have these core beliefs, what is your identity based on?
But you don't want too much of the super ego kind of bumping up against and rule. I think that's an issue we have with our political system. Everybody wants to use their super ego to vote, right? Not the realist, not what's best overall, right? Let my religion be in control, or let my superior morality.
Because I can already see the downside to it, which is like militant fanaticism type.
Right. You don't want to be too, for lack of a better term, egotistical here. You don't want your ego out in the front here, because then you're just kind of in the middle on everything, right? You want to lean a little bit with both.
So it's like, and even right now with us talking, I almost find it hard to find the balance,
right?
Because it's like, fuck, you can't just be a pussy,
right? But
you can't be a fucking prick all the time,
right?
And then at the same time, you gotta be a fucking dick that knows where he's going, or you're just
right. See, this kind of goes in with that thing we've talked about twice. I know for sure. When you were locked up, if somebody disrespected you, the first thing you do is you handle it, right? Violently. It's a fight. We're gonna go in the shower. We're gonna handle this. You're not gonna disrespect me, right? Where I had the conversation with you, what do you gain by this fight? Is it just respect by your incarcerated peers? Because it locks you down. If you get caught, you can get put in the hole. You can get restricted from different privileges you had. Moved out of the dorm you were in because you were in a like more of a privileged dorm where you had more freedoms, right? You were in a work dorm.
Right.
So you were able to work. You were able to make a little bit of money and work time off, right? These were essential for you getting out.
Yeah, they were.
Because you had goals.
They were.
But it was hard for you with that mindset, that id mindset, right?
It's still ultimately jail.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I am subject to the whim and the wishes of
others,
individuals who are just as
because you could be taken advantage of. You could be stepped on if you don't have the right amount of respect.
I want to even break it down even more for you right here. So check this out. So like, say I didn't fight, I didn't get kicked out of that dorm, but say this guard over here was having a bad day. Say his wife cheated on him.
Right.
And he has to come to work because even though he got cheated on, they're not going to give him a day off for being cheated on. He's there to work. So he's in a bad mood.
That happens a lot with those guys.
He's watching old home videos of him and stuff. He's like, I miss that woman.
Right. And just in his feelings
all night. He's just in his fucking feelings. And
but
I'm walking by, and my shoe squeaks. Oh, this son of a bitch, I can't stand him. Boom, he's gone.
Right.
So now check it out. Boom, I go to a cell.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go back because I get packed up. Bam, I go back to the cell. And guess who was in there? You got all these people and they're talking like, oh, look at this pussy or this bitch. This
he won't fight.
Weak-kneed whore. He won't fight nobody. Shit, he needs to get on the door. Now here I am. I'm fucking bouncing door to door to door because I'm a big
until you end up
bitch.
in a cell that is nothing but sex offenders.
Right. Now, guess
and
what?
now you're considered a sex offender because you're in there with them.
So it's like, boom, I have no choice. I got to. You call me a bitch.
Because there is a hierarchy. There is a system. As flawed as it is. And it's all id rule, right?
As it is. As stupid as the whole thing is, unfortunately, it's reality. So it doesn't matter what your reality is. What matters is what society as a whole's reality is.
But you were avid. Don't disrespect me, right? And that was a big part of that conversation. Well, we fast forward. You have custody of your son after you get out. You're working. You're doing everything you're supposed to. You're trying to be a father, right? You're trying to teach the right things.
Right.
Your son goes to school, gets in a fight. Now you have to be like, you know what I mean?
Right. And
so it's that.
And this happened. This is a real situation.
Right. And that's why we had this conversation twice.
This is a fake scenario. This is a real thing.
Right.
And, I had to ground him. I didn't ground him because he stood his ground. I didn't ground him because he got in a fight. I grounded him because of the lack of communication, because that is where we break the barrier down from this what do you want to call it? This pathological fucking violent history that we grew up in. Is you have to be the one that does the action. Because it doesn't matter if you have 3 fucking frogs sitting up on a log and they're just hanging out on that log, right? And out of those 3, 2 decide to jump. How many are left on the log?
1.
No.
You thought
3. Because a decision isn't an action.
Oh, I get what you said.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I can sit here and talk about, man, I don't want to be like that no more. You know what I mean? I'm trying to sit here and mess up my kid and all that shit. But if I don't actually, take the steps to, change the shit that happened to me so that I don't fucking do it to him.
Right.
It's just words.
Right.
It's just an idea.
Right.
There's no catharsis or movement. You know what I mean? It's just fucking stagnant bullshit.
100%. And that's where the id comes in 100%. You have to have a little bit of the id, right?
Right.
Now, walking through normal society, right? Not incarceration, not jail rules, prison rules, whatever, right?
Uh-oh.
You're walking the line in society.
Right.
You're trying to toe the line of what's appropriate, right?
Yes.
You still have to have a little bit of that id.
You do.
Right.
100%.
Because at any moment, anything could go awry.
Well, and I'm gonna give you another scenario.
Okay.
I'm at Holiday World, which is a theme park over in Indiana, Santa Claus, Indiana. Listeners,
big for people
it's
in
big,
the area, in the tri-state area.
Our tri-state area.
Right.
It's very big. But anyways,
I thought this was the only tri-state area when I was a kid. So when I heard somebody else call the tri-state area up in New York and shit, I was like,
what the fuck you talking?
Is there more tri-state area?
So look, I'm at Holiday World though, and I got my kid with me, and it's our first fucking family outing, if you will.
Right.
Anyways, we're on the swings, last ride of the whole evening before we head out and bounce out. Right. We're on the swings, going around in circles. Well, I hear some dude saying, "Fuck you," and I look back because my kid's behind me. And I see this dude looking at my kid, and I'm like, hold up, that's a grown man. What do you mean, fuck you? That's my kid. You don't fucking bitch, what are you talking about?
Right.
Swings, scroll down, and I look at him like, you alright? He's like, yeah. He's all fucking downtrodden and sad and shit. Bitch, plus this is we're supposed to be happy right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I look at the dude and I'm like, what the fuck did he do to you? And he's like, oh man, my bad. I'm like, my bad. You don't apologize to me.
Right.
You fucking apologize to him. He's like, oh, I told him I was sorry. No, I didn't hear you say you were fucking sorry.
Right.
He's like, I'm sorry. I'm just having a bad day. That ain't good enough for me. Fuck you, mean all that just having a bad day. You fucking tell fucking little kids and fuck you. That's,
right.
So he's trying to walk off and rush off, and that's whenever the fucking he's fucking rearing up, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm about to fucking follow this dude out of this park and beat the shit out of this guy, you know what I mean? I'm fucking on him. He knows I'm following right behind him 10 feet away. He's walking, he's trying to rush his girl. She's like, I don't want to walk anymore. No, we gotta get out of here. I'm like, no, you ain't getting far. It don't matter where you go. You have this issue coming. And then I can hear my brother background be like, nah, don't do it, man, don't do it. Nah, fuck that, I'm doing this, you know?
Right.
And then I realized that his aunt's here, which I just got custody of him, so
don't want a bad impression that early.
Bad impression that early,
right.
At a fucking Holiday World.
Right.
You know what I mean? Plus, I'm out there on a company picnic for his grandmother. So, dude, I can't make an ass of myself. So, logic kicks in, and I'm like, dude, the point's already been proven. This dude knows, he's a straight bitch. I ain't got to really whoop his ass to prove he's a bitch, because he really don't want no smoke. Like,
right.
It ain't a little kid no more, so he don't want no issues. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fucking bitch-made motherfucker. But anyway, it still pisses me off if you can't fucking tell. Like, some cocksuckers up in fucking Holiday World, man. Like, dude.
Well, that's one of those situations where your kid was being talked to recklessly.
Right. Like, dude, I still feel some type of way about not slapping the dog shit out of this guy. You know what I mean?
Know.
Like, if that dude is listening to this podcast, let me tell you what. let me give you something real quick, you slip mouth piece of shit. You shit spackled fuckboy.
It's one of those things where part of the super ego and ego have to reel you back in, right? You do want the super ego kind of,
right? And that's where that was like that voice, like, hey, slow down, dipshit. And like, damn, here comes the logic voice,
right? Which is your ego coming in to be like,
you got to be a bitch right now,
right? Yeah, and that goes against everything that you had grown to be and know,
right? But dude, you got to realize, like, this is the beauty of human nature, man. Is what worked for you then won't always work for you now.
Right.
We have to change our thoughts because, like, those neuron pathways don't fire all the time. Like, we're constantly rewriting our neuron pathways, like the brainwave, the pathways in our brain that attach emotions to fucking smells and emotions to fucking thoughts, and like all that shit is constantly being rewrote. Like, it's amazing how much structure is being rewritten in your brain every day, constantly.
Right.
But anyways,
every situation
you're gonna have to adapt.
Right.
Like, yeah, I had to do some stupid shit to survive back in the day. This is fucking not then. This is now.
Right.
And in order for me to survive now, I have to not worry about my survival anymore. Now it's about my kid's survival. If I focus on his survival and doing it the right way, everything else will fall into place.
Right.
Yeah, it's maybe not as fast as I want it fucking to, you know, but it's going to.
Not everybody has that same introspection, though.
No.
Which I think leads to a lot of societal issues.
But not everybody's had the amount of time to slow down and just really fucking look at what the fuck is going on.
Right. And there's not somebody there to bounce those deeper introspective questions off of either.
No.
Right?
No.
A lot of times we're told to hide that. Like our definition of manliness, right? Like, who taught you to be a man, what manliness was, right? Who taught me what manliness was? I didn't have those same...
I think James Bond.
A lot, right?
I think it was James Bond.
For me, it was the dude, right? I still like a White Russian. Right.
Goldeneye.
I always liked the slacker. I think that might be why I'm in this situation. I've always, like, even with Clerks, I was like, really, I loved Randall in Clerks, right? Like, it's always the guy that has, like, some kind of comeback. He's a slacker. He's not really on the... I think that really was a huge impression on me because that was kind of the guys my mom dated, right? These...
Whoa, that's a whole nother subject.
Right? But it leans into what my thought of manliness is, right? No, not that far.
Oh, okay. Well, I was like, whoa, this went fucking crazy. We went straight to Oedipus. Like,
I don't want to kill my father. No, if he wasn't alive, I wouldn't mind.
But pass that dinner course.
I will. I'm going to have to.
Sure, because that wasn't what you led with, is just kill your father. Like, we all know your fucking father sucks, but the first thing you said was you didn't want to kill your dad.
No, I'm saying I was going into...
Yeah, no, it's alright. So a Freudian slip.
No,
Freudian slip.
I didn't slip. No, you slipped.
You slipped.
I haven't fallen.
Well, your mom what?
I don't have mom issues.
No.
Well, I mean, I do, but not that far gone, right?
Everybody's got the mom issues, man. That's kind of what Freud was saying.
Yeah, but I don't understand.
You might not necessarily want to just spread her open and annihilate her or something, but like...
That's a wild theory for Freud. Like we're on the topic of Freud. This motherfucker was talking about giving his mom back shots, right? Like, I don't
think it was really like... I think he means it like
in the sense of you want a woman that is like your mother,
right? Not because you like. I mean,
you want.
I mean, he really did kind of just put it down into like the most primitive fucking terms you could put it. You know what I mean?
Accurate.
Because I mean, honestly, if you really put it down to like animal, like fucking straight animal primal instinct. If you're on a fucking island in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? Okay, you don't know nothing about nothing. You're born on this fucking island, okay?
Right.
And the only woman on this fucking island happens to be your mother, but you don't know what the concept of mother is because you weren't taught anything. You know what I mean? But you do know that you got a wiener and she's got a vagina, and guess what's gonna fucking happen?
I feel like.
Think about this.
Okay. So
wait. That's the thought. By the way, this is a thought experiment. This isn't like fucking straight up.
I understand. I understand this.
Okay.
So for me, I feel like there is that internal thing that tells you,
don't fuck your mom.
This feels weird. But I don't know that because society has always taught us that it feels
right.
weird.
You know why they teach you that? Because if they didn't teach you that, you would have your fucking mom.
And then you'd have a weird brother son. And
right.
Yeah, it gets all like sex nuts and crazy.
So they gotta keep making sure to remind you, don't fuck your mom. Don't fuck your mom. You know what I mean?
You don't want a chud baby.
Right. You don't want space fucking incest.
Right.
But anyways, you know, and but we're gonna get off this.
But that might be from us learning because it seems to be more prevalent in the past.
I don't know.
Right? Inbreeding seemed to be more prevalent in the past.
When you first touch your wiener, okay? Let me ask you this. When you first touch your wiener, did somebody tell you to touch your wiener, or did you just fucking play with that thing and fucking something happened?
I was little, so I don't remember.
Not really either, but I'm just fucking trying to shoot.
I was like, before I could even shoot. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying, like, I don't think that somebody was like, hey, if you touch that thing, something weird happens. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I just was fucking...
All right, so for me, I was molested as a child. So I have hypersexuality.
Okay, yeah, that isn't...
Right? So I was interested in porn and naked ladies way earlier than most people.
Right.
Like my son just got a girlfriend and isn't interested in sex yet, and he's 15. Right? A lot of people don't lose their virginity till later on. I was 13. Right? So for me, it was like...
Right.
I was hyper-focused on something, right? I really liked naked ladies. They look good. I appreciated the female form. But...
Not knowing why.
Right. I remember one of my earliest core memories is seeing a college girl naked. She was babysitting me. She gets out of the shower naked. And I remember tan body, full dark bush.
So then maybe we need to gather more information on this and then come back on it. Because it's kind of like... We can't control the variable with this study group, if you will, because
correct.
I'm
a little on the hyper side of it, so I'm early on, right? I shouldn't have been that exposed. Right.
So you're like tainted.
Right. So I'm definitely the outlier. Right.
100%. And that was not...
Which, if you looked at me now, you wouldn't believe I was an outlier. Right. But... not at all.
No clue.
A bald-headed fat guy, you're like, no way he was getting...
Not the pink glasses with the purple beard.
First of all, I rock the shit out of my stuff.
I'm not hating on them at all. I'm just saying that those weren't the defining factors of an outlier. It was bald and fat.
Right. I was talking about getting laid early.
Okay.
Because this works for me now. I get way more compliments and attention from females
than you did before you did.
Way more. They really dig it.
Yeah. I guess that's...
Because I do stand out.
You stand out.
And it kind of oozes like some kind of confidence I don't have, right?
That's what I was going with.
Right.
Man.
So, but... That aside.
That side. Transcript, really back stenographer.
So, but for the manliness, you know what I mean? Who taught us what that was? Was it the television? Was it these things that taught us in those moments?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
I don't either.
So,
for me, I didn't have male role models till I was older, so I was already violent. I was already a handful, right? I already thought, like, my sense of manliness came from TV dads.
I remember getting my ass whooped for something my sister would do, or vice versa. Like
accurate.
Like if I got in trouble at home, my dad would come home. He whooped both of our asses, and he'd be like, "That's just because that's just how it has to be. When you get in trouble, you both get punished." And I didn't understand at the time, but my sister fucking hated it because I always got in trouble and she barely got in trouble. So all the ass whooping she got was based off of my fucking dumb shit.
Right.
Which might have bred some animosity later in life. I don't know. But anyways.
Might have made her want to keep you from doing stupid shit.
And maybe that's why to this day she kind of nurtures me. Right. You know?
She would, that's leaning into that, right? That really brings that into almost a full circle moment where she felt the need to watch your back,
right,
to make sure. So your whole life she's been that kind of motherly figure in a way, right? So because she felt like she had to. Like with me, if my brother got his ass whooped, I got my ass whooped. Not like he got in trouble, I got in trouble, but if he got in a fight outside and I didn't defend him, I was fucked up, right? If I got into a fight and I lost, I got my ass whooped. And I didn't get supper.
Damn.
Yeah, so I wasn't trying to lose a fight. And if I lost a fight, nobody knew about it. I kept that shit on the down low.
Hey, that's fucked up though. Not Fiji shit because you lost a fucking fight.
All right, so I had gotten into a bunch of fights. Like when I moved into the Rolling Heights, I started getting in a fight. I got jumped by like 5 kids my first day there. I was walking around like this happy little fucking 6-year-old, just ha ha ha, and a bunch of other fucking 6-year-olds came up and beat the shit out of me. New kid, right?
Right. I mean, you should have seen it coming, but
I should have, right? But I wasn't in that community at first, right? I wasn't a part of that.
Excuse for it.
Right.
Them's the streets, bro.
At that age, I should have known better. So, for me, it was like I learned quick. I have to fight or get the shit beat out of me.
You either have to fight or fuck.
Right. And I wasn't fucking at that point. Right. That was just like a year or two too early, right? So, so I move fucking on, and I get into a fight with all these kids later on, one-on-one. Well, what I know to do for fighting, because I don't have that role model, I'm trying to do wrestling moves and Power Ranger shit. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to morph before you get into a fight, but it usually fucks you up and you get blindsided, right?
No, I've never morphed in a fight.
It's morphing time, and then you're like, fuck it, oh, it hurt. Right.
They morphed you out of consciousness.
Right. So for me, it was like, all right, well, that doesn't work. That was really a learning process. So I got my ass kicked a lot early on.
Fucking right? Power Rangers, man. It made everybody think they could fucking fight.
Right. And then, X-Men 97 comes along.
Yeah, fuck.
And now I'm trying to be fucking Beast and Gambit rolled into one, right? Yeah. So it was... I didn't have that. I remember one fight I got into, I DDT'd 2 kids onto fucking concrete, right?
You can't do that either.
No, you're not supposed to, but it worked for me in that scenario. But like we said earlier, what works for you one time might not work for you later on, right?
I don't see
it was a one-off. Yeah. These 2 kids were trying to fucking tackle me because they were pissed off. They were fighting my friend, and then I went up and like put some hands on them. Then I back up ready for the fight. They come at me. I DDT'd them on the concrete. Boom, bow, dropped him. So he runs back up after getting his ass whooped by 2 kids, and he starts helping me.
Right. Okay.
Right? I'm doing wrestling moves, trying to stun motherfucker, like Stone Cold Stunners and shit, right? I'm passing them out, like, throw me a beer. Nobody's got a fucking beer. Like, fuck, all right. Barks, maybe, But that was my idea of fighting until I got into watching boxing. All right? Mike Tyson and Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. I watched tapes and tapes of this. I never went to a gym to learn, but through watching this, I was like, okay, if I stand on my feet here, my hands like this, I can fight. Okay, oh, he's doing this to evade these punches. So I learned a little bit of fighting from boxing.
Right.
And that was my kind of where my fighting style is to this day. If I was to get in a fight, I have a pretty decent boxing stance, and I can throw a punch pretty decent. But I haven't been in a fight since I was 20.
Oh, God.
Right? And that is 17 years later.
You want to go fight somebody?
I thought about it, but all right, so these teenagers were talking shit, and this is the
You can't
id.
fight fucking teenagers.
I was almost 30. All right, so, and I think they were like 18, 19. They looked like older teenagers.
Okay.
They could have been 17, but they could have got these hands
17,
either way. 17
can get it too.
Right. Bernie Mac said once you turn 3, you can get punched in the throat or in the chest, right? So I've always lived by that motto. So, but seriously, like me and my ex were leaving a Sonic one time and they started talking shit to us. And the id took over, right? That primal stuff. Fuck you, bitch. What do you got? You know, you're not going to sit here and disrespect me because I was the same way when I was younger, right? Disrespect didn't lend you, get you very far. She was the voice of reason. She was my ego at that moment, right? Right, don't do this. It's not worth it. Think about you got kids at the house, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, no, fuck that. I'm tired of people disrespecting me and thinking they can get away with it. And she's like, if you do this, I'm going home. I'm going to walk home while you're doing this, and we're going to have a big problem. And I was like, fuck, all right. So I thought about it and backed down. You know what I mean? I stayed in the car, drove off. All right, let that be. But that was a moment where I almost just let everything fucking go. I didn't care.
Right.
I was just pissed. But I listened to her and thought it through, let my ego come kind of mediate. There's a better way. Just leave it alone. They're shit talking fucking kids, right?
Right.
Right. But that part of me was still very fucking angry, still very rage driven, right? Your anger can be a gift, but how far does it get you?
I mean, anger is a healthy emotion, though.
Right.
If controlled. And it's an umbrella emotion, so it means it's an emotion that we put on the surface, but underneath of it is there could be several factors to why we're feeling it,
100%.
But a lot of people don't know that. They just think, oh, I feel angry. I'm just angry, But why do you feel angry? Is it because you're sad? Is it because you're depressed? Is it because you're, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Are you manic right now?
Right. And that's kind of how, our id got trained to be our first responder, right? We would punch first and ask questions later, right? We didn't really let that kind of, we grew up in different in poverty. You have to fight for what you have, for family or possessions or whatever. How many times did somebody try to take a ball from you or whatever? Hey, that's mine, right? You can either cry about it, go home and tell your mom, nothing gets done.
Nothing.
Or you can
your fucking ball.
Right. Or you can fight for it. If you win, you get your ball back. If you lose your ball and your dignity. Right? So but at that age, you don't think that.
So then what I'm getting from all of this really is that, you don't have to kill your ego.
Right.
You just merely have to know when it's lying to you.
Right. You kind of want to be in that realm, right? Like, you don't want to let anyone be the driving force. You kind of want to keep their stats even, right? Kind of like if we're playing an RPG. Right. You want to keep those stats kind of level.
Right.
Level up some other shit.
Yeah.
Keep those kind of even.
Right.
Right.
You want your strength, dexterity. No.
Definitely want your dexterity at this age.
Yeah. Sounds like a 2.
I can't even touch my toes anymore. That's something we're going to get into next time as well, is thinking we're more than we are, right? We all have this illusion that we are who we were.
Overinflated perception.
Right. And we'll get into that a lot next time, because that one is something I struggle with a lot, and I've noticed a lot of people struggle with. I'm going to whoop your ass. Well, you're not the same guy you were when you're 20.
Yeah.
Right?
You might try to whoop my ass.
Right. Or that frame of mind. I'm going to whoop your ass. Oh, you think you're going to whoop my ass.
Right.
Because I'm a badass. I know what I'm doing. I can fight, bitch.
I'm fighting motherfuckers.
Right. And you want to feel like you're more than you are.
Well, that's because, what are we going to get into this? Well, that's because when you're a child, you develop this. You just have to be the strongest, toughest person at all times.
Right.
And that comes down to developmental shit too, though,
Right.
Really. because your dad was always in your eyes. It ain't even his fault, personally.
Right. We put our parents, our
put them on this
gods, we put
right.
everything, our government, our politicians that we want. We put them on these pedestals, right? All the way from the very top to just as low as our parents, right? That's the closest form that we have, right? I don't mean low as in they're not as important, but like from these big, powerful people over everybody to just the one person that's over you or the two people over you, right? So just in that system, we tend to put our people over everybody else, and even in our own lives, they're the end all be all. Right. Sometimes that's kind of where the id grows, right? Because we don't see the fallibility of our parents or our elected officials or our God or whatever, we tend to lean into they can make no mistakes. They're flawless. So when they do make a mistake, it throws us back. We're taken aback by it, right? We're like, this fucked my whole worldview up.
There's no way.
Right? It's like people seeing, like, that are right-leaning see, oh, well, Trump's not doing that thing I like. Or when fucking Democrats voted Obama in and he did the mass deportation. Well, that's not what I wanted. Right? So, all right, well, maybe they're not who I thought they were. Right? Just like when your parents, you see that fallibility in your parents. Sometimes it's early on, sometimes it's later in life, but you have that existential crisis almost, right?
You have to learn that everybody has the potential to betray your trust.
Right. And I never want to raise my kids that way.
And but here's the thing though, is like trust is, there's different levels of trust. Like, oh, you fucking lied to me about picking up a pair of dirty socks.
Right.
Did you lie to me? Yes. Did you betray my trust? Yeah, but did you is it groundbreaking and earth-shattering and I'll never look at you the fucking same? No. But is it a betrayal of trust? Yes. So once you realize that there are levels...
Kind of like believing in Santa Claus. You learn that, you're like, ugh, you lied to me about this, what else?
It's tiered. And honestly, you can trust a lot of people with a lot of things.
100%.
But you're never going to find that one person that you can trust with everything.
Right.
Because that person doesn't exist.
Right.
Because the only person that you could ever trust with everything is yourself.
And sometimes people can't even do that.
Exactly.
Right.
If you can't trust yourself, how the fuck are you going to trust somebody else?
Right. You have to build that up, right? You have to put faith in yourself.
So that ultimately, that's where all of everything, all of our conflict and everything comes from. Is just this misplaced trust.
Right.
And you can't, just because you've been my friend for fucking 50 fucking years and say, even though we've been friends for 50 fucking years, and should I be able to trust you with literally every aspect of my life? No.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's once you learn these universal truths and stuff, I feel like it makes it so much easier to just fucking transcend this ego.
Right.
But eventually you gotta come into check with it. You gotta check it. You gotta fucking be like, hold up, is this me or is this my need to be right?
Right. You find it easier as you get older and you learn, because not everybody has those moments of clarity where they can sit and they can look at themselves and say, you know what, I fucked up or I'm flawed or I'm whatever, right? Some people live with that spiritual ego, right? Kind of stipending them, right? So they don't get that chance to grow and see that side of what their fallibility. So let me look at myself and see what I can change to make myself better, right? There's no evolution of character there. Which is honestly my favorite part of a story. So when I realized that I like stories where there's character evolution, right? It started making me think, well, maybe I need to evolve in ways, right? Like for me, I didn't have those influences, so I had to look at other sources to find that kind of inspiration, I guess. Right? So for me, it was like I saw what happened when my protector was the bully. Right? The people that were supposed to have my back weren't, right? I saw that up close. I saw that kind of in depth. So I had to become my own person. So I had to make up my own moral compass. What do I think is right? What do I think is wrong? Where do I want to lean with this, right? So through that, I got to the point where I feel my shit's more equal than it used to be, right? Like we were talking about with RPG, my stats are kind of level there.
Right.
But from time to time, one will pop up a little more than the other.
Right.
Right? I'm quick to use that super ego and take fault for everything I've done wrong.
Right.
Right? And I'll
see me, I'm the opposite. I use my super ego and take the moral high ground.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you know,
I wouldn't have done this because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Yeah. Where me, I'm like, oh, well, there's a little bit of shame there because I did fuck up.
Right.
Like, my last relationship, I built my whole fucking who I am on not lying. I hate lying. Why lie about something?
Right.
A situation arose. I thought it was easier to lie. I thought that was more believable than the truth was.
To deal with.
Right, because the truth didn't seem believable, so I just said something I thought sounded truthful, right? That sounded more realistic. And it wasn't a full lie, but it wasn't a whole truth either, right? But they say a whole half truth is a whole lie, right? A lie is a lie, right? But the way I was trying to justify it in that moment, right, was
it's
that.
not really a lie.
Right, I got called out on it. I said, you know what? I fucked up. That was me, 100%. I shouldn't have done that. And I felt so fucking bad for it, right? Even like lying in the first place, but I was like, it doesn't seem believable, right? So then I get called out on, hey, you're lying. I have proof. Da 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 da. All right, you're right. I lied. That was my fault. I shouldn't have done that. I should have told you the truth, but it didn't seem believable. So that was why I did what I did. I don't expect you to forgive me for it, but I would appreciate the forgiveness for it, right? I did what I did for this reason because of what my brain told me. It was wrong, and I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
I was wrong, right? Not just trying to say my brain's dumb and that's my brain's fault. No, it's my fault for doing what I did.
Because you were the owner of the brain.
Right.
You were the cultivator, but the gardener.
I felt so fucking bad about it. I leaned into that super and I tried, especially since that day, to make sure no matter what the fucking consequence is, I just tell you the truth. Fuck it, I don't care. Right? You get mad about it, you get mad about it. You don't believe me in that moment, that's fine. You don't have to fucking believe me. Right? I told you the truth. I don't have to worry. It's not weighing on me. Right? So, I let that super ego kind of control that and make me that way. Right? Because I've been taught my whole life the truth will set you free. And that's not always the case. No.
But it's a good start.
For me, it's more true more often than not. It's, worked for me, right?
Right.
So, and there's a lot of cases where the id takes control, where the anger and the primal, just lustful, carnal knowledge, just to fuck or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes over, right? I want sex right now, and
if
what do I got to do?
If I'm not going to provide it, then I will find a person that will.
Right. But I'm not going to cheat. But so for me, I'm lucky enough to have somebody that's like, hey, let's do this anytime. All right, let's do this. Right. And all I got to do is, hey, you want to? Yeah. Okay. If I didn't have that, maybe I would be a cheater. Maybe I would lean more into that id. Right. I don't know. But I feel like if I'm not getting the attention, maybe I would, right? I had this struggle inside myself, right? Mm-hmm. If she tells me no one night, am I going to get pissed off and just look online to find some pussy real quick? I don't feel like I would, but the situation's never happened, right? And I know when I'm in that mindset and that fucking, desire comes up, I'm like, fuck, I want to do something now.
I'm going to have to do it.
Right. So I'll do anything fucking, when it comes to like trying to like seduce somebody. Hey, how you doing? Talk slick as fuck. Right? Do I mean what I'm saying? With the person I'm with now, but to girls I've talked to in the past, I've just been talking shit. You know what I mean? Is it lying? No, because I'm not really lying. I'm not saying like I love you. I'm not misleading. I'm just trying to get in their pants.
Spit in your game.
Right. So I've struggled with both of those quite frequently, and I feel like now in life I'm more even kilter, right? I have more ability to look at myself and be like, all right, you're kind of fucked up.
Right.
And this is how we can fix it, right? For you, do you feel like we are raising boys to worship the id or shame the ego?
And see, I feel like it's, again, I'm going to have to balance it.
Right.
Because, I feel like the id is crucial to developing the skills necessary to survive in a world that you have to be tough in.
Right.
Like,
for me, it's similar. But my son is, and we've had this conversation. He's 15, and I've sat down and talked to him, and like, hey, somebody's talking shit, tries to fight you. What do you feel you'd want to do? He's like, oh, fight or flight. I'm flying. I'm getting out of there.
I'm out.
And I was like, I didn't raise a pussy, but at the same time, I'm like, well, that's smart.
That is.
Right?
I mean,
but the guy inside is like trying to argue, like, hey,
you need to step up, man.
If a dude hits you, I need you to fucking do something back, right? Like, don't let a motherfucker fucking walk all over you, right? But that's like, that's my id, right? Do I want to pass that on? If my son can make it his whole life without ever being in a fight, that's something you can pat yourself on the back for, right? He's more peaceful. He's more diplomatic.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, and then,
you've seen him. You know how he'll sit and talk to people, and he tries to kind of make everybody feel comfortable and welcome, right? He's not somebody that's going to try to make you feel unwanted. He's not going to try to hurt your feelings. No. He's not that kid. So I've done a really good job in that aspect, but I don't feel like I've given him enough id in some situations.
Same with mine.
Right.
I mean, I agree 100%. Like...
Now, this isn't saying that we believe Freud's theory. This is us applying it to our lives and showing
just trying to relate. Right.
So I used to think I was the strong one. Now I realize strength is shutting the hell up and when I want to swing, and strength is raising my son to never have to hit anybody, right? It's that kind of thought where I feel like I've gotten to the right place with these.
And I've seen the results, so I agree. I agree with that. You got a pretty good formula going on.
Right. That's one thing I try to keep going. You know what I mean? Like, it's been vital for my existence to know I've done something right. Right. Like, I have to have that. So.
Well, okay. So before we go, though, here's your Socratic question of the week. If your ego is who you think you are, then who's the one watching you think? Sit with that, especially next time your pride wants to throw a punch. Post a status or win an argument you ain't even in.
Right. So until next week, when we'll discuss the capital S self, right? The big self. It's all about me. Right? So
this is going to be our narcissistic episode.
Right. We're going to really dive into it. And so hopefully y'all will enjoy that portion. Hopefully you've enjoyed this long style. They're not always going to be this long, but sometimes they will be. It depends.
Depends on the topic. Depends on what we're feeling.
Right. And I think that's vital. I don't want to keep it cut and dry an hour every time, hour and a half every time, but somewhere between an hour and a half isn't bad. So we're going to leave it there, and we'll catch y'all